Some people are strangely difficult to understand. You can talk to them for months, sit beside them every day, and still feel like part of them stays hidden. Not because they are fake, not because they are playing games, but because some people naturally reveal themselves in quieter ways, and psychology shows something interesting about this. The human brain becomes more focused on people it cannot easily predict. When someone gives you constant emotional signals, your mind relaxes. But when someone stays emotionally controlled, private, or difficult to fully figure out, the brain keeps studying them. That is why certain people leave stronger impressions without trying to. So here are 6 traits of people who are hard to read. The first trait is that they do not constantly reveal what they feel. Most people naturally leak emotions. You can hear it in their tone, see it in their reactions, feel it in their energy. But hard-to-read people often pause before expressing themselves. If something hurts them, they may process it silently first. If they disagree, they do not always rush to defend themselves. If they need distance, they quietly take it instead of announcing it emotionally. And this confuses people because most conversations today are built on emotional transparency. People are used to instant reactions, instant explanations, instant emotional updates. But psychologically, emotionally self-contained people often depend less on external reassurance. Not because they feel nothing, but because they do not feel the need to explain every internal shift to the world around them. The second trait is that their behavior stays steady even when emotions change. Most people become very readable during emotional moments. You instantly notice when they are angry, jealous, nervous, excited, rejected. But hard-to-read individuals often separate emotion from behavior. Even under pressure, they may stay calm. Even while disappointed, they may still remain respectful. Even when deeply affected, they may choose privacy over reaction. And honestly, this makes people uncomfortable sometimes, because many individuals rely on reactions to feel emotionally secure around others. But psychology links emotional restraint to internal regulation. Their feelings still exist. They simply do not outsource every emotion through visible behavior. The third trait is that they observe more than they reveal. One powerful social pattern is this: people naturally talk more when they feel listened to. So during conversations, hard-to-read people often become the observer instead of the performer. They ask thoughtful questions. They notice inconsistencies. They pay attention to details most people miss. And strangely, after the conversation ends, others often realize something uncomfortable. They revealed almost everything about themselves while learning very little about the quiet person listening. This creates mystery naturally because the brain keeps replaying incomplete information, trying to fill the gaps. The fourth trait is that attention does not control them easily. Many people visibly change under praise or rejection. Compliments raise their energy instantly. Criticism ruins their mood. Disrespect becomes obvious on their face. But hard-to-read people often stay emotionally balanced around attention. They appreciate praise without becoming dependent on it. They notice disrespect without immediately exploding emotionally, and they usually avoid dramatic public reactions. Psychologically, this comes from a more internally anchored identity. When self-worth depends less on outside approval, emotional patterns become harder for others to predict because their center stays relatively stable even when the environment changes. The fifth trait is that they trust slowly. Some people emotionally open up within hours. They share personal stories quickly, reveal wounds immediately, become emotionally attached fast. But hard-to-read people usually study people before opening fully. They watch consistency, behavior under stress, how someone treats others, whether words match actions. And until safety feels real, certain parts of them remain protected, not to manipulate people, but because experience taught them something important. Access should be earned carefully. Psychology often sees this in people who learned early that vulnerability in the wrong hands can become regret later. The sixth trait is that they have a deep inner world few people ever see. Some individuals spend enormous time inside their own mind. They reflect quietly, analyze situations privately, replay conversations internally, process emotions long before speaking about them. So while others only see the calm outer version, there is often an entire invisible emotional world underneath. And honestly, this is why some people remain difficult to fully understand, not because they are empty, but because most of their depth exists beneath the surface, where few people are patient enough to look. And maybe this is the important thing to remember. People who are hard to read are not always emotionally distant. Sometimes they simply learned that not every thought needs an audience, not every feeling needs a performance, and not every part of them deserves immediate access. Because some of the deepest people you will ever meet are the ones who speak softly while carrying entire worlds inside them.